that officials of an opposing team are denied entry and they have to watch the match on Star Times at a police station. I mean, come on, this is 2024. We don't need to talk about that. We just want to talk about the beautiful game. And let's see what else happens. There were skirmishes out after the game as well, where Kotoko, supporters felt that they had to get extra security and the management team. But let's leave that to the FA. The video evidence is pretty strong, and hopefully the police and the FA would use that in the adjudication of this matter. Very unfortunate. We need to talk about this. And the referee as well. All referees, this is a live match, so hopefully at the end of it, we will not be talking about the man of the match being the referee, but rather the players. Okay, big game coming up at the top of the hour. Hearts of Oak are motivated because a win, as Josiah rightly said, would push them on the brink of that top four, at least at the edge. And they know what that means with new coach Ouattara. They're unbeaten, looking pretty good, the Phobians are. But for Hearts of Lions, similarly, they've had their backs against the wall for literally the entire season, and they'll be hoping to do wonders as well. Accra Lions, the battle between Accra Lions and Great Olympics, two Accra teams. Lions know that a win would, take them further away from that dreaded relegation zone. So it is going to be very, very fascinating. Let's talk about the Phobians. They themselves were not happy about the last game. They felt that a late offside decision denied them 3 points, which would have put them in a very good position. But they've moved on, and hopefully they would, vent their frustrations on Bando Heart of Lions. Look at them. There they are. They will be on 24 should they win, but that would just take them above Tano Bofakwa. It is very tight, and they'll still need and pray that Karela, Accra Lions and Dreams do not get good results in their upcoming matches. So it is pretty tough, but it's possible. Josiah.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, just like you put it. And for Heart of Lions, I think there's the time for them to start bridging that gap between themselves and Karela United, who are on, I think, 15th position, or 16, 17, 18 will be in the drop zone. So for Heart of Lions, they should be going to this game thinking that it's only one result we want to come up with, and that is a win for sure, because a win will just take them within 3 points of Karela United, 3 points of Accra Lions, and also 3 points of Dreams FC. That's why the fact that Accra Lions have 2 more games to play. They play tomorrow and also have a game in hand. They've not been bad, Heart of Lions, in the second half. We witnessed how they beat Masia Asante Kotoko, right at the beginning of the second round. They got a very, very decent draw away when they played against Great Olympics. They've not been bad. But then you're going into games like this, it's just one thing. You're coming up against an informed Accra Heart of Oak side. And Accra Heart of Oak side are playing, some good football in recent times. They are yet to lose under their recent or their newly appointed coach in Ouattara, Abubakar Ouattara. They're playing some exciting football. We saw how they were able to come back from 2 goals down, or they went behind twice in the game, and they managed to get a point in that particular game against Dreams FC under some of the harshest and most uncomfortable circumstances, or weather conditions. But then that's what they're about. But then your fate is in your hands. You only need to win to keep closing in the gap. And the worst thing that could happen to these 3 teams in the relegation zone is for Karela, Accra Lions and Dreams FC to keep winning. Because the more they keep winning, the more they continue to open the gap, which will be very, very difficult for them. They didn't start the season brightly, but then under Bashiru Hayford, it looks like they turned the corner. They're not playing bad. They're playing some exciting football. The likes of Hoto, Kojoa, Samoa, Yakubu, the attacker, Mahama is there. They have some decent players, in the ranks. And one thing I must commend them for is the consistency with which they select their players. It's not like you see, a wholesale changes to their team in every match day week. It's just 1 or 2 players because they want to keep that cohesion together. They want to keep the momentum, and that's one thing that I really like about this Heart of Lions team. But then coming up against Accra Heart of Oak, it's going to be a very, very difficult one for them. But then if they want to get something from this game, they just need to punch above their weight, and just put in a good shift tonight. Yeah, and
Barbara Sports Stadium being a venue where the Phobians have had relatively good fortune, they'll be hoping to get something. But Bando Heart of Lions would remember their last trip when they had Kotoko, and in their estimation, they should have won that game. They played good football. They will be happy to play at a venue where it allows you to express yourself, to play football, spread the game around.
Yeah. If you look at Hearts of Lions themselves, like Josiah was saying earlier, ever since Coach Bashiru Hayford took over, they've been mixing the wins and the draws and the losses together. So it's not like a one-way format, which we saw earlier in the season where they were losing and drawing all their matches. At least they are able to blend it. When they beat Kumasi Asante Kotoko, we thought, oh, this is it, because they played very well in that game at the Pando Park. Then against Olympics in Soga Kope, they didn't turn up to the party. In the first half, Olympics basically put the brakes on them. By the time they tried to salvage something from the game, it was too late, because Olympics had loads of experienced players in Glasson, Awaku and co that were able to manage the game for them, and Lions lost that game. They went back home against another relegation threatened team, RTU, and they managed to beat RTU at the Pando Park by 2-0. Then, in midweek, they went to Bofuakwa. As early as the first minute, they conceded a penalty, and Bofuakwa scored against them. They tried the half and puffed, but they couldn't get the equalizer, and the game ended in another defeat for them. This evening, against Hearts of Oak, the first leg of this game was played at the Hawkeye Sports Stadium, where it was a goalless tournament. Heart of Lions will pick a lots of confidence from that game, because they were able to hold Hearts of Oak against Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. They played out a goalless draw. Then they are now going back to the same venue to play against Hearts of Oak. Both clubs know that it's like a home away from home for them. Hearts of Oak is playing home, but they are away from home. Hearts of Lions have a good hunting ground at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. This evening, would they be able to switch their A game on board and bring something extraordinary to be able to get something out of this game? When they are in the right state of mind, they can play. One thing about this team is they possess war, they build up war. Their biggest problem is to have that leader striker up front to be able to convert the chances. Because in the game against Great Olympics at the Wafa Park, they played very well. But their problem is to score. And this is where Mustafa Yakubu, the chap spotted number 10 jersey, needs to come to the party, because they look out to him to bang in the goals. He get the chances, but as to how to convert the chances is the problem. You have Kwesi Pong, the left winger, very good. He takes the ball, dribble, drags people out of position, creates openings for people. Ejene Boateng like this. You look at Ebenezer Aban, who is the top scorer of the team, and he is one of the finest centre backs in the league, partnering Ruben Hennessy. On any good day, they can put brakes on any striker in the league. But the problem here is how they manage to concentrate over the course of 90 minutes. That's the problem with Hearts of Lions. Behind them, they have Thomas Osai, one of the finest young goalkeepers in the league this season as well. He was voted as one of the best goalkeepers in Division 1 last season, shortlisted for the last 3, but he lost that. Here, if you look at Hearts of Oak this evening, what Hearts of Oak have put forward this evening is scary, because they have all their top players brimming down there. You look at the form guide out there, and you could tell the Hearts of Lions away from home have managed just one draw against Nzwatroma in their last 5 matches. And they've been conceding, and they need to put brakes if they are supposed to get something out of this game at the Kumasi Sports Stadium against Hearts of Oak. If they're able to do it, it's another thing altogether. Because if you look at the Hearts of Oak team, Yawamankwa Befi, Glid Otanga, Salifu Ibrahim, Kasim Sisi, Linda Ntage, and then Salim Adams. These are players that play in attacking positions, and they can switch position. They can be very deadly. Behind them, Kofi Agbesima, David Ofon Afrani, Michel Ampedu, and Dennis Kosa. All these guys are on duty this evening. So if you look at Hearts of Oak, it's clear. The intention is clear. They want to set out well, and they want to start well and then win the game, because they will pick a clue from what happened to them against Dreams FC. Yes, they're undefeated under the new gaffer, Mr. Watara. But the problem here is Hearts of Oak need to manage their game and play over 90 minutes and be consistent. They can't play in patches. And against Dreams FC, they were not ruthless enough, and the referee on the day frustrated them. This evening, as to how they were to switch their game on is another thing altogether.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So yeah, the Phobians definitely have got the arsenal. It's all about those who starts. You know, they've got a rich bench. If the coach decides to call in the backup, the boys are ready on the bench. I think if you look at player for player, would you say that apart from Dreams and perhaps Midiama, the Phobians have probably got the most, what's the word to say, versatile and robust squad in the Ghana Premier League?
Yeah, well, I think that's subjective, depending on how you're looking at them and, the kind of experience you want to see from, this team. But then, yeah, one thing about this Hearts of Oak team, which I'd say is undeniable, is the fact that they have so much quality in the ranks. And most of the players are versatile players. You look at even with their recent setup where you have Amankwa Befi playing as a right back, and he's one of the best wingers. If on any given day, on a good day, Amankwa Befi can play at the right wing or right midfield position, and he can play to perfection. And even playing at the right or playing as a stopgap right back, we've seen the best out of this chap at both ends of on the pitch, at the defensive end and also the offensive end. He's been solid and sublime for Accra Hearts of Oak. You look at the centre back pen, where today I believe you'll be going with Agbesime and also Opon Afrani. They've been solid. And at left back you have Dennis Nkrumah Kosa. This is a player who has had stains with the national team before. In the holding role you have someone like Gledo Tanga, Salifu Ibrahim, and also Linda Intangi supporting, in that diamond formation. And then also Cisse, who has proven to be one of the best link-up strikers, we have in the league. So you look at this Heart of Oak team, on paper, you can't tell me they don't have quality. I think what they've lacked throughout the season, is a gaffer who can, give them some confidence, and get them playing the way, the Heart of Oak way, if I should put it. Because one thing that this team wasn't synonymous with was scoring goals. They were so wasteful in the first half. But then when Abubakar Ouattara comes in, you can see how evident, it is with regards to the players' mentality. So far, they've played 4 games in the second round, or since the appointment of Abubakar Ouattara. And in all these games they've played, they've always come out, top in every department of these games. In their first game against RTU, they played, perfectly in that game, putting 3 passes out to you, without even conceding. In their second game, they went to the Nana Kwara Park and won against the Swatcherman, a stadium where not any team or every team goes there to pick up wins. In their third game, they played against Tanobo Fakwa, in a game where everyone felt like, Heart of Oak should have won that game, if not for the fact that they were just wasteful. In their last game at the Barbara Sports Stadium, it was a 2-2, a pulsating 2-2 draw between themselves and Dreams MC, where they had to, claw their way back twice in that game. And also they scored 2 goals, which was disallowed by the referee for offside. So in all the games they played so far under Abubakar Ouattara, they've been the best team. But then unfortunately, they've not been able to win all these games. But then if you're a Hearts of Oak fan and you watch this team, from match week 18 or the beginning of the second round, you see, so many improvements in this team. 1, confidence has skyrocketed. 2, they look sharp. They have the cutting edge whenever they attack, and 3, the players are playing with no, with some sort of freedom, if I should put it. They're not playing under pressure. That was the same team we saw under Martinos Koopman a couple of months ago. And whenever they played, you could feel they played with some amount of fear. They couldn't express themselves freely whenever they were on the pitch. But then under Abubakar Ouattara, it looks like a different team altogether. So if you're a Hearts of Oak fan and you keep watching this team, even if they drop points in a game, you consider the last 2 games they played in which they dropped points against Tanobo Fakwa and then also Dreams FC respectively. There are still positives you can pick from those 2 games. And that's what even makes the squad even deadly. That just 4 games into, since taking charge of this team, there's so much positives you can talk about this Hearts of Oak game. And any other team or any team at all that faces this Hearts of Oak team should be wary of how dangerous they can be up front, because now they are playing like Hearts of Oak. Now they are playing like a team that has a direction, a team that has purpose, a team that is playing to win all 3 points. Not that team we saw a couple of months ago that had to play games. It looked like the players were being forced to play. This Hearts of Oak team had gone through a lot of rough patches this season and had even compelled the management to come up with meetings upon meetings, several meetings, just to try and get things in place. So at this point, you look at where they are going, the trajectory, and I believe they are just moving upward, if you should ask me.
Yeah, and pictures there of Bando Hearts of, is it the Hearts of Oak? This is Bando Hearts of Lions. There they are, stepping out. They will be the underdogs. They are the underdogs. But sometimes, as we've seen in this league, especially in the fixtures between teams more to the top and teams at the bottom, you can be motivated by that underdog flavor. No doubt about it. Hearts of Oak are flying. They've got the momentum. They've got a new coach. Some are even calling it the bounce, or, when you have a new coach, you normally have this. But they are taking that momentum, and they're unbeaten since Abubakar Ouattara took over. If Hearts of Oak is steady and we know what they will be up to or what the kind of lineup they would have, maybe it's contrary as Bando Hearts of Lions. We're not too sure what they'll be coming up with this evening.
Well, if you look at Hearts of Lions, they've always set out to play in the low block, and they have explosive players on the wing. You look at basically they normally start with Thomas Osaimpo, Yao Dansu. On the left, you have on the right you have Ebenezer Aban, Ruben Hennessy, and Bismarck Enim making up the back four. And in Bismarck Enim, former captain of Tudu Mighty Jet, former captain of Around 20, he has so much experience while surging forward, and plays is so simple. In central midfield, you have Godfred Kojo Asamoah, Atakusi Kojo Kwesi Pong. This chap is a left footer, brilliant carrier of the ball. Whenever he's moving up front, he's explosive in the match against this Olympics in Sugakope. He caused them so much problems. Then up front, you look at Mustafa Yakubu and then Ejenim Boateng. These two guys need to come up with the goods for the club, because when you look at how they set out, they basically play the 4-4-2 formation with diamond formation. Whenever they are under attack, the two wingers will slot back to make it 5. So it's a problem for them. Their problem is how they believe, how they switch on, because they have an old gaffer who believes that when he steps out of the den from the Kwando Park and goes away, he's supposed to get at least a draw. Because if you look at their position, you don't need to be throwing it
their
away.
Their form has been the problem. They've struggled away from home.
Ever since
they need to find an antidote.
They need to find an antidote, because they've played 2 matches at the Kwando Park against Kotoko and against RTU. They won those games. They don't have any problem. Traditionally, if you look at the club itself, even from their first coming, if you go to Pando, you can't win there.
And even when they were coming back,
to the Ghana Premier League last season in Division 1, they basically destroyed everything that was put in front of them at the Pando Park. And I'm of the opinion, yes, it has happened that where they found themselves currently, if they were to have started the season playing at the Pando Park, the team would not have been there, because they play so well. The team has this kind of chemistry with the Pando faithfuls. They have the backing, and they have some sort of spiritual backing when they play there. So they know how to play very well there and grind out their results. Right now they have 21 points from 21 games. And like we were saying, look at Accra Lions, Karela, Dreams, up on top of them with 27 points. That's 4-point difference. And they need to start changing their way from, if they are supposed to pull away from that particular relegation zone, because we are getting to the business end of the league and everyone is looking upon their shoulders. And if you are not careful, by match week 25, 26, 27, if you don't position yourself well, it will be a little bit too late. And if you are supposed to get something out of this game, a lot will be desired of Ebenezer Aban and Ruben Hennessy and the goalkeeper Thomas Osai. Because if you look at what they have done, basically, they are the people, the 3 players that have been so consistent for them this season.
Okay, let's go for a quick break. The kickoff is at the top of the hour. We'll be back very shortly after this. All right, welcome back. It's the big fixture for Monday evening football. Hearts of Oak versus Hearts of Lions, and it's at the Babayara Sports Stadium. Now, guess what? I've got a Hearts of Oak jersey to give away. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, so you can predict and win. But let's focus on the table. This is where the Phobians actually sit at the moment against Hearts of Lions, and it's very simple. You win, you get 3 points, you move up. For Hearts of Lions, they move up, getting closer out of the relegation zone. For Hearts of Oak, they move closer to the apex of the Ghana Premier League. It's very simple. No, unnecessary mathematics, and that's what the two teams are built for. We've got the lineups already, but the question is, will they produce that form at the Babayara Sports Stadium? And as you see, so Richard Atta is back. He was substituted in their last game, suspected hamstring. Obviously, it wasn't. You don't recover from a hamstring in a few days, so that's good news as well for the Phobians.
Yeah, it's good news. And if you look at their team, trust me, this team is loaded with so much talent. Richard Atta, Michel Ampedu, Kofi Agbesima, David Opon-Afrani, Dennis Kosa making up the back four. Linda Mtange, Salim Adams, Glid Otanga, Yao Mankwa Befi, Kasim Sisi, and Salifu Ibrahim. So if you look at this team, on any given day, Hearts of Oak has this kind of an all-star started team that should be able to win a football match at any given venue in the Ghana Premier League. This guy is a former winner of the league, 2 times winner of the MTN FA Cup. So he comes into the game, Richard Atta, with so much experience. Because if you ask for experience, he's one of the experienced heads and he is one of the leaders of this current team. You recall you look at Kofi Agbesima, former captain of Bechem United, but to Hearts of Oak. You look at David Opon-Afrani, experienced player, had stints with the local Blacks. Dennis Kosa, former captain of Ebusua Dwarfs. Michel Ampedu, Legon Cities. You look at Glido Tanga, you look at Salim Adams. So if you look at this team, in terms of where they stand and what they want to achieve, they can be unstoppable. It all depends on the players to be switched on and realize the badge they are playing for. I've always said this. You look at Togbe, he has provided everything for these players to be able to flourish, play well, and win laurels for the club. That's what the supporters of Hearts of Oak are yearning for. And if you have such a team with an experienced gaffer in Mr. Ouattara, it's by no means look that they are undefeated in the second round of the season. And if they can continue on that trajectory, Hearts of Oak should be able to cause problems in the second round of the season to any team that is being put in front of them.
No doubt about that. Yeah, the Pando boys themselves will know what's at stake. I mean, they're not naive to that. They will know exactly what's expected of them. And that's why it will be an open game. Maybe the advantage they might think they have is they have a lot of runners who work for 90 minutes tirelessly. And if they'll listen to their coach, they might be able to unsettle the phobians, especially if they get their first goal. But they're not used to scoring a lot of goals, Pando Heart of Lions.
Not at all, yeah. Especially when they travel away from home. It's always difficult for them whenever they're on the road.
That has been their bane.
Yeah, that has been their bane. But then, fortunately for them, you look at their big games against Hearts and Kotoko. So far, they've played 3. Yeah, they've won 1. They've drawn 2. So they are yet to lose in any game at all, either home or away against Hearts.
That's where the underdog psyche
exactly.
comes
So
in.
whenever and we know that long-standing history and rivalry between themselves and these two giants, Hearts of Lions and Hearts of Oak, Heart of Lions and Asante Kotoko. And you know, when these teams come up against the giant, either Hearts or Kotoko, yeah, it's extra motivation for some of these players. We saw Thomas Osei, Kwabena Osei, the goalkeeper for Heart of Lions in that game against Kotoko. See, he was at a world-class level, if you should ask me. The kind of saves, world-class saves he made in that game. And it wasn't even, you know, shocking. He was voted man of the match in that particular game. And that's where you see the best out of these players, because they know that these games are just played once in a year, twice in the season. You know, they know that these games do not come around often. So once they have the chance to prove, you know, to not just to the rivals, but then also potential suitors outside, you know, yeah, they go all out and they make sure they play above 100%. And that's what maybe we might get to see again in that game against Accra Hearts of Oak. Mind you, Heart of Lions have already, you know, they've made a trip to Kumasi, the Barbara Sports Stadium, to play against Kotoko earlier this season. And unfortunately for them, they had, you know, a goal disallowed, you know, for offside. And they know how difficult they've been whenever they come up against this top sides or the top sides in the league. So yeah, I'm looking at this game and I believe, see, Heart of Oak have gotten the momentum. They are playing some fine football. They are unbeaten. They have a new coach at the helm. Same as Heart of Lions, who have also gotten Bashir Hayford at the helm. And this is one of the most experienced coaches, you know, in the local terrain. And he said they're on a rescue mission. They need to save themselves. They are on a redemption mission, because the first round didn't go as planned. Now they had to change things. They had to expedite that their home stadium, that's the Pando Sports Stadium, you know, project. They had to expedite it because they felt that there was beginning to be this, that the club was alienating itself from the Pando community and the fans, and they had to do it quickly. And right after they did it, playing their first game over there, they won, and subsequently they've won against RTU over there. But in this, the away game that can turn your season around, and they believe that even a point in this game, could just do them so much good going forward.
Absolutely, and we know that Kumasi is one venue that the Phobians have a lot of support within the Kumasi metropolis itself. They can travel even if they wish from other towns and cities. That's, you know, it's just about the momentum. Win more matches, encourage your fans to travel, and we've seen them, we've heard them in their numbers in recent matches.
Yeah, you know, Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, one thing about they don't have artificial fans, they have organic fans. The fans are there. The fans stay away from the team, watch from afar, just to see how the team is playing. When the team plays well, they respond in spectacular fashion. That is how I'll say, by going to the stadium.
Shouldn't it be the other way around, regardless of how? It's a Ghanaian football fan mentality.
It's a Ghanaian. Someone doesn't want to go to the stadium and go home with a heartbreak. It's better I watch on TV and get the heartbreak rather than going to the stadium.
So the fans have a lot to learn from the European supporters.
Definitely, it's got to be all time, all season, all around the club.
Arsenal. Liverpool.
Arsenal since
Manchester
2004,
United,
they've not won the league, but anytime they play, it's a sold out. And the season Hearts of Oak came back to win the league after all that kind of doldrums, living in the wilderness under coach, the former gaffer, Samuel Buedu. Look at how the fans, even in the midst of COVID, people are breaking down the gates at Accra Sports Stadium just to get crash and watch the game.
Which is a crime. Which is a crime, which we shouldn't.
Hearts of Oak versus Great Olympics, the second leg at Accra Sports Stadium was a stadium, and they said it should be about 20%. And Hearts of Oak themselves got fined after the game by the FA for not controlling the crowds at the gate. That tells you how testy people can be if the team is playing well. And if you look at the current Hearts of Oak team, even from last season, the kind of recruitment that was done, it was just a self-destructive tendencies that were able to rub the shoulders of Hearts of Oak and deny them from having a proper crack at the league. But this season, you can tell that at this second round, things are good. You watch Hearts of Oak, the patterns they play, the way they approach the game. You don't see negativity surrounding the club these days. And that's the right thing for them. And it's up to the players now to be able to drag the fans back to the stadium to support them.
Okay. The coaches are ready. They're standing by. Let's go to pitch side and hear what they have to say. Very experienced journeyman Bashir Hayfoot, and you heard what he said. A little bit of warning, not veiled. He says, yeah, they think we're underdogs, but at the end of the day, they'll find out whether or not we're underdogs. And we're also waiting to see after 90 minutes plus extra time whether or not that would be anything to take from that. Two very confident coaches. Clearly, they're both going for the win.
Yeah, definitely. If you look at Hearts of Oak, where they are, they would love to win today, and that added incentive of leapfrogging Kumasi Asante Kotoko on the league table will add something spectacular to the feelings of their fans. And you look at Kpandu Hearts of Lions at the flip side, they can feel like people are peeling away from them, other clubs, so they need to stay intact. Because if you give so much room for people to drag themselves away from you, to be extremely too late, too difficult for you to even drag yourself away from the relegation dogfight, because we are the business end of the season, and this is where you need to grind out results. We saw how Bafokwa played against Hearts of Oak. They basically ran their socks off to be able to get that draw. And Hearts of Oak themselves know that for them to get crashed, that top four, where you have Insra Traman, Adriana, Samatex, and then this thing, they need to play something. They need to go on a consistent kind of form to be able to get there, and it will be difficult for them if they are not able to win in consistent games. So the writing is on the wall for both teams. The season needs to start now. You need to start picking up the points, because if you don't do it now, it might come back to haunt you at the tail end of the season.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And Josiah, Hearts of Oak, no 3 points is almost in the bag, but they still have to go out and work for it.
Yeah, you listened to a coach and he spoke about the fact that in that game against Standard Bafokwa, they were a bit complacent, and that was one thing that actually, had them. If they are taking their chances after going one up, maybe it would have been a different narrative on that day, and maybe they would have had 2 more points to what they have already, amassed. But then they are going into this game knowing that yes, Heart of Lions will be clear underdogs. But then also Heart of Lions are saying that they love to ride on that tag, the underdog tag, because it has always helped them. And contrasting forms going into this particular one, but I believe it's always has to do with who wants it more, who is hungrier, who is more determined to win this one. Could end up carrying the day, if you should ask me.
You had to equip them by 4 goals to 0. That was a big game there. But since then, it's been tight between the two, draw and victory for Hearts of Lions as well. They would recall that they've also beaten the Phobians. It's not something that is impossible, so they would know it is possible. And tonight, for them, hopefully, they'll be able to stun the Phobians.
Yeah. If you look at the head-to-head, in their last 5 matches, Hearts of Lions basically won 2, drawn 2, Hearts of Oak won 1. So against Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Hearts of Lions basically play well against the two most successful clubs on the local terrain. And this evening in Pando, everything will come to a standstill. It's the ultimate game for the local faithful. Whenever their team come crossing paths with these 2 huge clubs, and the players themselves know that you can become a cult hero if you play very well, because in matches like this, you are under the limelight. Look at the number of eyeballs that will be glued to this particular time. Monday night kickoff, premium time. We don't have any matches rivaling this particular one, so it's a huge game. The added incentive is there for you to perform, and all the coaches, all the scouts, everybody is watching this game. Just this game can put you on that particular map to stardom.
No doubt about it. Okay, so let's do this. with my techno. Come on 20. Now, I've seen the messages coming through, and I've got a Heart Evoke brand new spanking jersey to give away. And of course, it's simple, full-time scoreline prediction. I mean, it can't get any easier than that. And of course, you could just go to Facebook and make sure you hashtag the Star Times and also King Yao Ampofo. Very simple, King Yao Ampofo on Facebook, or at King Yao on Instagram. And I've seen some messages already. I don't know if we have time, director, to go a couple of names. Nanaya Asantifobi says 2-1 against Lions, and Sami Black says 2-0 in favor of the Phobians. Everybody's predicting for the Phobians. Let's go live now to the Babayara Sports Stadium.
The Ghana Premier League comes alive once again from the Babayara Sports Stadium for matchday 22, and it's Hearts Evoke who have adopted Kumasi's Babayara Sports Stadium as their venue for at least the remaining league games till the Accra Sports Stadium is suitable and ready for their return, because the venue is currently being used for the African Games. They are up against Bando Heart of Lions this evening here in Kumasi. The Phobians last time played here, and it was a 2-0 drawn game against Dreams FC. They were left disappointment